Personnel shortages is one of those things that a lot of IT professionals don't really take into consideration. We're used to looking at the hardware, the software, the network, all the stuff that we think we need to have the redundancy. But what do we do when we don't have enough people? I have worked in many organizations where one person was the only person who was able to do a certain job. So when they go on vacation for 3 weeks, we're unable to do anything on that system. Which is why we need that cross-training and we want people redundancy just like we have on our systems. But what do we do when a snowstorm or a hurricane, or more commonly just all our staff has the flu or another virus? How do we function with only 10% of our staff? We need to ensure that we have the critical staff identified not by name but by position. So for those positions, we build in more redundancy. And the DR plan I talked about earlier that was 10 years old, one of the only mistakes in that one was it named everybody by name. We never name people. Because it's very common in IT to have a 5 to 8% turnover every single year. Meaning 5 to 8% of the people that are here today will not be here next year. And if we have Bob and Jane listed in our plan and both of them leave in 3 weeks, and something bad happens and we have the numbers for Bob and Jane, we can call them all we want, they cannot do anything. We would have positions identified or groups, and we would have group numbers and group emails identified. I don't remember exactly when the H1N1 virus was, but it was assumed to be a very bad strain of the flu, and there were a very, very limited amount of vaccines ready for the entire world. So every country got a small allotment, and in Denmark at least, they chose to focus on critical people. Being that I worked in the IP backbone and we were responsible for the entire infrastructure of the internet in Denmark, my team was identified as critical, which was also why I had to go through the background check when I had that job. But this is something we need to do before the event. It is part of our planning and our preparation. Obviously, lack of personnel could also stem from other causes. It doesn't have to be an infection or an epidemic. It could just be a strike. If our staff is unhappy with something we do or we do not do, how do we respond to that? And how do we continue to function if most of our staff walks out? As you can see by now, really BCP and DRP is us asking those 3-year-old questions and coming up with as many as possible mitigations or countermeasures to many of the scenarios we would see. Having the ability to work from home even if you're sick or you're snowed in might be an option. But I'm pretty sure if someone's on strike, they don't really care that they can work from home. They're going to be just as much on strike. What do we do when that happens?